Hello. បាទជាបឋមខ្ញុំប្រកាសណាសូមនមស្ការថ្វាយបង្គំចំពោះព្រះអង្គប្រធានរាអនុធិរៈគ្រប់ព្រះអង្គព្រមទាំងសូមគោរពនិងជម្រាបសួរទៅដល់លោកគ្រូអ្នកគ្រូព្រមទាំងសិស្សានុសិស្សសាស្ត្រាចារ្យដែលមកពីស្ថាប័ននិងសាកលវិទ្យាល័យផ្សេងៗនៅក្នុងខេត្តបាត់ដំបងរបស់យើងនៅក្នុងការចូលរួមនៅក្នុងវេទិកាពិភាក្សាស្ដីអំពីការឆ្វេងយល់អំពីបេតិកភណ្ឌវប្បធម៌រួមនៅក្នុងតំបន់ទន្លេមេគង្គរបស់យើងនាឱកាសនេះហើយចង់ជម្រាបប្រាប់ផងដែរថានៅក្នុងកម្មវិធីរបស់យើងគឺមានការបកប្រែផ្ទាល់ដូច្នេះកាសដែលប្រើបាទឃើញប៊ូតុងកណ្ដាលពណ៌អាក្រហមហ្នឹងគ្រាន់តែចុចទៅនឹងអាចបន្លឺសំឡេងតែម្ដងសម្រាប់លោកគ្រូអ្នកគ្រូបាទឬក៏សិស្សានុសិស្សដែលត្រូវការជំនួយបាទសម្រាប់ភាសាអង់គ្លេសដោយសារនៅក្នុងនេះគាត់ធ្វើការបកប្រែពីអង់គ្លេសមកខ្មែរហើយខ្មែរទៅអង់គ្លេសវិញដែរអញ្ចឹងបន្ទាប់ពីការប្រើប្រាស់រួចហើយគឺសូមមេត្តាដាក់នៅកន្លែងដើមវិញនៅក្នុងកៅអីបាទនៅលើសំទោសនៅលើកៅអីមិនមែននៅក្នុងកៅអីទេបាទនិយាយញាប់ពេកទៅក៏បាទភ្លេចពាក្យភាសាអង់គ្លេសភាសាខ្មែរអស់ហើយបាទអញ្ចឹងជាបន្តទៀតខ្ញុំបាទសូមគោរពអញ្ជើញបាទលោកអូស្មានខាវាចាជានាយកប្រតិបត្តិនៃសមាគមហ្វាពលឺសិល្បៈបាទឡើងមកដើម្បីធ្វើបាទបទបង្ហាញឬក៏និយាយអំពីប្រវត្តិសង្ខេបរបស់គណៈវាគ្មិនរបស់យើងទាំង3រូបរួមជាមួយនឹងអ្នកសម្របសម្រួលនៅក្នុងកម្មវិធីនេះផ្ទាល់តែម្ដងបាទសូមគោរពអញ្ជើញ
Chumripsu, everyone who's here in the audience, our distinguished guests, as well as friends from Phnom Penh, Siem Reap, Singapore, France. I see familiar faces. So really happy to have all of you join us here for this very important discussion. But especially a warm welcome to our guests on stage, coming in from Thailand and from Phnom Penh, UNESCO offices. Today's topic, we find that is a very important topic for discussion. It's something that has been discussed a lot, especially on social media among audiences in Cambodia as well as neighboring countries. This discussion will shed light on what shared heritage means across cultural conventions and lead to a fact-based discourse that clarifies common misunderstandings and also a deeper understanding that shared cultural heritage goes beyond modern-day boundaries. I am pleased to introduce our moderator for today, Dr. Nisit Intamano. Professor Nisit is the Assistant Professor and Director of the School of Law of Sreivy University in Bangkok. He has more than 20 years of experience as a lawyer and legal advisor. He also has served as an associate judge at the Central Intellectual Property and International Trade Court of Thailand. His expertise include alternate dispute resolution, dispute settlement by arbitration, intellectual property law, international trade and investment law, and contracts and transactional law. He has also been working with UNESCO over the past 5 years, especially addressing this topic today. We welcome Professor Nisit. Pleasure to have you here.
Thank you very much.
Professor Nisit will introduce the rest of the panelists. Before I get off, I would also like to thank our host venue today, the Professor Honak Raja Buddhist University. Thank you for hosting this session.
Thank you very much for a very nice introduction, and it's our honor to be here today. Greeting to vulnerable monks, people in this community, lovely place. It's second time for me to be here, and I think it's really lovely that we have experts and people who really work on this field would share some light on discussion. What is shared heritage mean? Actually, across cultural conventions, and that lead to the fact-based discourse to clarify some common misunderstanding. And today we open the floor for people here and also online. If you have any further question, please send us on the floor. We're willing to answer all the question here. The purpose here today, we would like to sharing and promoting and building a deeper understanding of a Mekong region shared cultural heritage because it's a key theme of this festival and also is helpful for this regional. Recently, probably you know, public sentiments has been tense to social media surrounding the discussion of shared cultural identity and heritage, not only here, also in Thailand and also a lot of country in these regions, what it is and why we have to care about it. And this argument often arising around the origin of certain form of art, food, and any different kind of cultural heritage that we're talking about this. I believe through this panel discussion, we would have about only 1.5 hour. We will finish it by 4. So discussion, we open floor to talk, we share experience, and then we can helping each other to understanding and thinking about what we can work together because that's the hopes to cultivate a deeper understanding of the regional shared cultural heritage and encourage mutual recognition and respect for each other cultures. That's the whole purpose here today. Today, I would like to have a short introduction about the panelists today. A gentleman on my left side, Masak uh, Nagaoka Masanori. He's a head of cultural unit, UNESCO office in Cambodia, right here. He obtained his PhD in heritage study from University of Tsukuba in Japan, and also he he received the Master of Art from New York, United States. He has 20 years experience in culture sector of UNESCO as both headquarter, World Heritage Center, and field offices in Indonesia, Afghanistan, and Cambodia. And right now, you can talk and we can learn because his specialty, he assigned a lot of multi-sectoral regional office. His past experience in Kenya, right, regional advisor from June 2023. Right now, he is engaging in several projects in all field of UNESCO study sector, with including safeguarding on both tangible and intangible cultural heritage, cultural diversity, creative industry promotion, and sustainable development. So it's good for us to be here today. Please give a big hand to Mr. Masanori. Thank you. And I heard you really busy for the last 10 days. And actually, you just skipped another conference to join with us. Thank you very much. And a lady next to, she come from Thailand. At first, I thought she come from Vietnam because look at her lovely dress. Oh, that's the share heritage. Okay. Nina, you can call her Lina or Nina for short. If you have any question later, Nina, I've been working with her for several past 5 years. Nina is a UNESCO accredited facilitator for capacity building workshop for intangible cultural heritage in Asia Pacific region with experience in Philippines, Pakistan, Korea, Mongolia, Burma, China, and also Thailand. She worked with national and international partner. So today we would hear a lot of story we can share, we can work, and we can see it together for this part. Last but not least, we got a guest from here, our friends, Miss Bom Sreivy, Director of Deputy Chief Cultural Development Department. Thank you very much for joining us here today. I know you work a lot, and that's why we sit here today and we see a lot of activities. While I'm being here, I'm on their small commuter, and it's amazing that I think you do a lot of good job here from our hotel to here. That would be something we can talk about the event. My, we will come from the simple part. Can you tell us from your perspective what is shared cultural heritage? Because sometimes people just asking, is it your heritage or my heritage or who? So the first question, I would like you to spend like 5 or 10 minutes telling me from your experience, what is meaning in your perspective of shared cultural heritage? Please start from Mr. Masanori.
Osman, everyone, excellencies, ladies and gentlemen and colleagues, good afternoon. I am really sorry that I was late. Yeah, somehow I made it. For this, I sacrificed myself to skip my lunch, my coffee, my even toilet, so that I got really tank filled, really up until here. However, before answering this question, very difficult question. Let me ask who you are today, so that our answers can be more flexible and to fit into your maybe the necessary information, so that our answers can be maybe inspiring to you, or maybe beneficial for you in the end. I see lots of pink shirts wearing. You are the university student, huh? And mostly freshman, first year, second year, third year. Okay, so now you are thinking about what to do next stage after graduation of a university. Silence means you have not yet, you are in the middle of the jungle, you are middle in nowhere. That's perfect, huh? That's good. Otherwise, those who wear something outfits, in a free manner, so those are working in a creative industry, or artists, or even university teachers. Who are you? Okay, artist. Oh, you guys are artists. Congratulations. Okay, what about housewives? No housewives. House husband. Oh, only one. So otherwise, all you guys are single. So you don't know how difficult the marriage life is. Not yet. Like you. Okay. So who are they? Who else? Who have not raised their hands? Shout your profession, or even you don't have any job. Teachers. Oh, teachers and artists. Okay, at the same time. Great, wonderful. Thank you so much. Okay, coming back to the first question. Sorry about that. It's been already 5 minutes, huh? So I will share my answer within 5 minutes. Yeah, okay. Shared culture heritage. Huh? What is culture heritage for you? What is culture for you? That is really depending on who you are asking to, definition, culture heritage. Even it's not only Angkor World Heritage Site is the only culture heritage, right? It is also something intangible living heritage. Even your art is culture. Even the cuisine, food, which your mama is cooking for you, is really culture, right? And the temple, everything is a culture. Everything is a culture nowadays. So it is, although I was introduced as a cultural program specialist, I'm not really a specialist. You are the specialist, who has to create, express yourself, create culture, perform culture, enjoy culture, promote your culture, not only within Cambodia, but also beyond borders. Huh? So that's what we are going to talk about. One example, which I'm going to share with you, is, as I said, cuisine, food, is one of cultural expressions to identify where you are. For example, you have a beautiful Cambodian food, amok, numachok, ginger chicken. You know ginger chicken? In Japan, we have ginger chicken, but it's totally different, the ginger chicken, here and in Japan. Here, you have lots of ginger on a plate. Sometimes it's difficult to find the pieces of chicken, but that's okay. That's so gorgeous, huh? But that's what you express your culture through ginger chicken. But in Japan, it's completely different. We have a lot of chicken, but little, small amount of ginger. But that's okay. That's what we have a difference. But we understand each other. I will stop here. Just to explain not only tangible heritage, but the living
Sure.
heritage.
That answers the first round. We come back with you. Lina, you've been experienced a lot with several countries, and you're helping them to tell them because boundary just come up later, right?
Right.
So what is your meaning of the sharing heritage?
Yeah. Actually, I would ask this question instead. What is not shared heritage? Because I think, we are all humans, right? So we do have similarities. We have some universal traits. We have universal beliefs. We have universal emotions. And these are all, shared by everyone. Now, the thing is, we might have shared different subsets or different types of definitions. I would call it definitions or identities. So even though we're all human beings, maybe we believe in different religion. But isn't that still same? I think somewhat there is a common ground there. So for me, shared heritage is actually, the question is, what is not shared heritage? In the end, the big picture is that we're all similar and we all share the same thing. But the problem comes only when we go down and break it down into smaller levels or into smaller parts. That, okay, I share this heritage, I share this cuisine. You don't share it. Is that a problem? If it's not a problem, then there's no problem. But there will be a problem if I cannot accept this difference, right? So I think the concept in the end is more philosophical about this question. That we might do some beliefs, we might practice some festivals related to water, for example. We might have some foodways wisdom. We might protect our forests, our nature, or we know how to do fisheries and stuff like that. These are all shared. But the differences are the details. And for me, that is actually diversity, and that gives so much meanings to being blessed to be a human being, because I get to see how my cloning in different bodies, in different shapes and forms and nationalities, practice and interact with the world. So in the end, shared heritage is, I think, all around us, but it's only the different levels that perhaps I would call it diversity that is interesting.
Another keyword has come up, diversity, right? That's very important. And now, I think you prepare for some picture to telling us to connect the people here. So you're working right now with the cultural heritage for the Ministry of Cultural. Can you telling us the meaning that you're serving, the purpose of the government right now, and tell us example, please.
Thank you. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. First of all, I'd like to say thank you so much for having me today. And this is a great honor to be here and learn from different people from the region. And my name is Sreivy. I work at the Ministry of Culture and Fine Arts. Most of all, my work is related to the safeguarding and promoting the intangible cultural heritage in Cambodia. And actually, related to the question, like other two panelists already discussed, I just want to, it's not about how I or the government point of view identify the shared cultural heritage, but I think it's rather than being understood by individual. So for this matter, I think for one example that we can think about is the Ramayana. I would like to share that the Ramayana that almost like every country in the Southeast Asia know about, and it is influenced by the India. So this is not kind of belonging or to specific nation, but as you can see that everyone has sharing like similar culture. So yeah, I think it more like everyone can explore more and define the meaning of sharing cultural heritage by themselves, and then we can learn more and be more respectful to one another.
Oh, that's really nice. That's remind one story. I traveled to Jakarta, and we have a political discussion, and then one gentleman talking about the story of a king asking a blind man to tell him how elephant look like. Do you know this story? Right? I think some people know this, and I'm so surprised because people in Indonesia, actually, this story I think is from scripture in the Buddha scripture, because telling like, oh, the one who touched their ear, like, oh, it look like this, the one gonna be like big, to touch the leg is like the pillar. So all of them say like, oh no, and they quarrel because it's different from my version because no one can see the whole thing. That's the first thing when I think about the sharing and understanding. And the second thing is, how come those people, they're sharing the same story with me? And when he come up to that problem, we resolve the conflict because we see like, oh, we are the same pairs. We are the same people. We value and respect the same thing. So I think this kind of good start, a foundation, like if you just close your eye and think openly, we see like we are human nature. We share a lot of things more than you can think. And that is very important. And that comes to the second point. So why you work for the UNESCO and Nina, you also serve for everywhere traveling and you help people here in Cambodia. Why is so important to talk about this? Why? It serves the purpose of what? Sustainable conflict, economic value, profit sharing, or what? Why we have to pay attention for this? I think we have a number of convention related to this, right? The most of them is intangible cultural heritage. Why is it called intangible? Because you can't touch them. Long time ago, we just talk about, oh, this is tangible. We preserve them, we freeze them, don't touch them, don't change. But now, different kind of cultural heritage. I think you're the one who's telling us why difference and why very important. Please.
Thank you for this philosophical question. I'm trying to, break it down and to answer to the question in a clear, more easy manner. UNESCO has been promoting lots of, programs and also international treaties, conventions. You don't want to listen to me, for the next 5 minutes, but I will skip this part. But as I said, old heritage is not only culture heritage, right? Living heritage is not only culture heritage. Contemporary art is another heritage, right? Culture. Together with those collections at the museum, in even the temples, in everything, including. Everything is culture heritage, right? The point is, why UNESCO is assisting the countries like Cambodia, Thailand, and ASEAN countries to preserve and to promote culture. The simple answer is to promote peace. I know it's really far from preserving culture and promoting peace. Let me fill this gap, the reason behind. For example, World Heritage, intangible cultural heritage. We have a listing system. For example, last year, Cambodia successfully inscribed Kun Lubokota for the intangible cultural heritage, right? And she did lots of work for this, and congratulations. Listing identification of such heritage, this case, Kun Lubokota, traditional martial arts, is not the goal at all, but rather this is the means, this is the tool to understand each other within even Cambodian people. I know there are very, very limited people who understand, who knew Kun Lubokota. But after inscription of Kun Lubokota, Prime Minister was so happy. Even he introduced Kun Lubokota within SEA Game as a professional competition, one of the games. And everybody, including ASEAN countries, really enjoyed and compete each other, right? And after that, Cambodian people are now trying to get trained in Lubokota. Even I know Ministry of Defense is now introducing Kun Lubokota as a practice of a military practice. So this is how listing can be, inspiring other actions, even to promote countries and beyond borders. Listing is just a means to get to know what you have here. Once we have Kun Lubokota here, other countries, neighboring countries, also would say, I have this, martial arts in Thailand, in Laos, in Vietnam, and to show what they have. Once they show, this will promote discussion, dialogue, to chat, right? Once we talk, maybe we can be a friend, promoting peace, right? That's what we are aiming to do. We have been doing it together with the government people, more importantly, together with those practitioners, local people. For the case of Kun Lubokota, grandmasters, masters, students, they got together at the time of inscription, nomination dossier, and they are really enthusiastically joining us, right? So that process is really important. That's the reason why we are promoting such, international treaties convention.
Thank you. That's really exemplify the situation quite well. Thank you. Yes, you may. Okay, Kunina. So
Yeah.
you've been seeing a lot of
So-
conflict if you continue with that part.
I'm sorry if the professionalism just breaks down. Yeah, I really second Masanori-san, and the question is like, why do we work with shared heritage, and work as in make sure that it will continue on to the future generations in meaningful ways, defined and wanted by the people that associate themselves with this heritage or culture. I really appreciate hearing that about the work of UNESCO in promoting peace. For me as well, culture is not just beautiful dances. They're not just entertaining things to watch. Although I really enjoy that. Personally, I really like arts and crafts and learning more about why people do such things. Why do they find it meaningful for them? But the thing is, culture is for many people is actually a pathway to better lives and better world. since we're talking that the definition of living heritage or intangible cultural heritage is something that is not necessarily has to be the one that the government recognizes or UNESCO, like, really, we inscribe it, therefore you can call it cultural heritage. No, it's not. It's actually you. Whatever daily life practices, belief, traditions that you hold valuable to you and your family, that is intangible cultural heritage. And because of that, people do these things. For example, how to cook rice, how to do some kind of agriculture, or how to do some kind of religious ceremonies and rituals, because there are reasons behind it, right? And we call these reasons values, meanings, and functions. So it can be spiritual meaning. I do this festival, I don't get any money out of it. I don't sell any products. But I believe that I will earn great merits. And that made me feel so good. Or maybe I will do some ceremony to pay respect to my ancestors. That's about spiritual value. It can also have social value and meanings. Many events, or even like family values, gathering together to do something together, that promotes unity and cohesion, and that also leads to peace. There can be also economic value. We're not neglecting this thing, because people can earn money and have decent income from their living heritage, right? So there are many kind of values and meanings, and also sense of identity and pride. And because living heritage is a home to these meaningful values and functions, how do we make sure that people will continue to benefit from these values and meanings and functions? And it also means that if certain kind of practices is no longer good for the community, like it doesn't really relate to the modern time, the question is, can the community change it to make it more relevant for them in the modern time? The question is yes. It's not like once you inscribe or once you recognize something as your tradition or culture, you have to preserve and freeze it and keep it the way it is forever. That's not the point. Because culture evolves and changes just like us, like our natural life cycle. We are born, we get old, we change, and then we die, right? So the same with living heritage. So that's why we have to work with cultural heritage, and especially shared, because not only that we're trying to safeguard it. Now this is a term. Safeguard means to understand it and to make sure that we empower the communities to continue to do it, or we raise awareness, etc. Not only to safeguard or to continue the living heritage, but also how do we make sure that the living heritage will continue to be respectful of rights. Many communities around the world, when they work with safeguarding, they ask critical questions. Like this tradition, although my ancestors have been practicing it for 200 years, but actually it oppresses women a lot in my village. Can I change it? So the workaround too, just like Masanori said, sometimes we also use sustainable development goals like peace, happiness, respect rights, and changes to make it relevant. Backward, we feed it back into safeguarding living heritage. We ask the question, how can our living heritage be more respectful of different groups of people, rights, ethnicities, minorities, all genders, etc. So we can also use it backward to refine living heritage. And when we do that, living heritage is better for everyone. So it promotes sustainable development. So it's a cycle that we're working on. So to answer your question, when I work with shared heritage, I focus on this and also finding the common ground among differences. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Now, Sreivy, what's your version?
I think other families, they already discussed a lot. So I just want to kind of raise like another point, like arts also kind of the healing for people. And in terms of how it is important, I think it's about continuing and the transmission of one group or individual in one nation. I would like to raise kind of an example for why we keep safeguard. Like Nina mentioned about, it's not about safeguarding, but it's also like the innovation, and this is lead to the 2005 convention about the diversity of the culture, and it's I think it's more about the keep continuing the kind of living heritage, and it's not only benefit to the individual but also to the whole nation. And as Masanori-san has mentioned, that it's also promote peace, and it does, and it happens like for the example, for what I have worked with the communities, like one group, I mentioned one group in Kanda province. It's called the Kawan Buran. They are all female dancers, and before it's they cannot perform like well because of the the conflict, and also no support. So after uh, the revitalization program, that this group can be survive and continue to until now. So yeah, this is my kind of sharing experience.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Actually, that's a very good topic because the incident also happened in Thailand about when the Bugador come to record. And actually, I sharing a short story because what has happened, you probably have in Thailand. People say, why, what happened? This belong to who? Blah, blah, blah. I'm writing an article in both Thai and English. And I work with UNESCO in Bangkok to tell them to understand it's not about competition. It's not about ownership. It's about sharing. It's about joining. I said, why we not we join happy for our neighborhood and friends, right? This is the thing. It's very different because people interpret the meaning of the purpose of the convention, and also I think due to the clown judgment of some political problem, which is normal because we're human. But if you come back to Mr. Masayuki-san, the question is love. Same thing with the Buddhist principle. If you're not loved, you can't help. You can't help. You can learn from each other, respect from each other, and then it's come to the circle, like Kunina say, it's a circle of help, and this been for this regional for a very long time, and I think it's very good to bring up this topic up front because sometimes when you put them in the carpet, right, and people don't know what is this about. So the thing very important is telling the people the story, and this is very good that we can talk with today. Now we break it down to smaller topic. This is simple question. From your own experience, I would like you to share the most memorable experience that you've been working and helping people for their own experience for this value. Whatever country, whatever sites, please share to our friends.
Okay. In Cambodia, I have been working here for 4 years since 2019, right? Just right before COVID-19, right? And I'm going to move to Africa this Saturday. So this is really one of the last my activities in Cambodia. One of my memorable activities is the time when I was joining a team to create nomination dossier of krama. Krama is what they wear. Like this gentleman wears green, krama. This is a piece of clothes, garment, and some of them even wear as a shirt. Now, they are now, changing, evolving from the piece of clothes into the fashion, because this is a part of intangible cultural heritage. Who wears krama
Can
now?
someone show us so we can see it? Brahma?
Krama, you know krama, of course you know. Krama is not just a piece of clothes. This has a rooted meaning. Yes, this lady, teacher and artist, she's wearing krama, no? And usually, like this gentleman, could you stand up? Little bit, this
Could you please stand up a
handsome
little
boy.
bit so we
Yes.
can see how it
Yes.
looks like?
That's krama. That's typical krama, maybe from Battambang. This is what they keep on wearing it, from the birth to death, from the cradle to grave. Once the baby is born, they wrap with this, and once they die, they wrap with this. And in the course of life, they use krama at the very important as an item, at the festive events and the very important events in life. I didn't know it. Even I'm sure most of you guys do not know that this krama represents human body with a pattern. That's what I learned. Human body, like legs, like eyes, like hands with a pattern. Even eyebrows within this. And the practitioner and those who produce krama from ancient time, and nowadays, they are transmitting to this generation. Those producers explain to us, this is not just a piece of clothes. This represents the human body. And I was really wondering which part is leg, which part is hands, which part. They really explain the same story. Before promoting your culture, you have to know your culture, what that means, right? And also how this was used. This is not only to wear, but also to use as a towel. At the time of a crisis, you use this as one of the item for the food, like to cook, to steam rice with this. I don't know how many people you are still using it, but some people still using it. No? And there are lots of ways, how to use this krama. So this is really rooted in your daily life. That's what I really learned when they create the nomination dossier for the next intangible cultural heritage. Last year, Kun Bogota successful nomination for the UNESCO representative list of living heritage. Next year, the government has already submitted this nomination document to UNESCO. So I hope this is going to be inscribed. Then once this is inscribed, I'm sure the government and the people are going to celebrate krama as one of the representative living heritage in Cambodia. But furthermore, what is coming is Phare. Have you ever been to Phare? Do you know what I'm talking about? Phare is part of Angkor Empire, 9th century in Phare province. That time, Jerevan IV moved the capital from Angkor to Phare and to make up their own city over there. This lasted only 20 years. This is going to be inscribed as a UNESCO World Heritage List from Cambodia. This is the fourth one. So I'm sure in this coming September, I'm sure you will hear lots of news about Phare. If you have not ever been there, this is the time for you to go. Before many people from the world comes, right? Now, if you go, there are very limited numbers of people, so that you can enjoy walking around and not really disturbed by foreigners like Japanese, Korean, Chinese, Americans. You really enjoy the tranquility, the silence of the place, and you can interact with the villagers. They are one of the people who kept on living over there from the time ninth century. Right? One thing, what's gonna come to Battambang? You know, Battambang is really well known in Cambodia. Everyone wants to come to Battambang. Huh? Lots of art, creativity, the food, everything. This is completely different from Siem Reap, right? And Phnom Penh. What's gonna come to Battambang is, in this coming November, I hope Battambang will be nominated for as one of the UNESCO Creative Cities Network. That's what the municipality governor of Battambang has been making his effort to promote, to introduce Battambang to the world in a category of gastronomy, the food, cuisine. There are quite lots of food in this in this city, in Battambang, right? So that's gonna happen to Battambang specifically, and in this coming November, I hope, once this is inscribed, UNESCO will announce that we have Battambang city, very creative city in gastronomy. But it's not only gastronomy. It is connected to everyone's actions, like art, film, literature, media, religion, whatsoever. This is really interlinked, so that this is really good opportunity to let people outside to know what is the Battambang city like. So this is how UNESCO is a little bit supporting within our limited capacity to understand. You understand first what it's all about, and then once you understand, this is your time to promote it to the world, to interact each other, right? So that's what we are hoping.
That's why they come with the word promoting safeguarding. Thank you very much. Wow. There, what's the most memorable experience when you're working for?
Actually, I want to go to Koke right now after hearing you. And also the gastronomy, I must try local food. Let's do that after this talk. So it's very difficult to just pick one. But maybe to build on and to connect to Masanori's, I have been working with UNESCO Bangkok on the project called Cultural Heritage Specialist Guides. And specifically, we worked with Department of Tourism and also Education to develop a new curriculum, a new type of guide certificate in Thailand, like a new one that is specifically for guides that will specialize in World Heritage Sites. But why I find it memorable is because in this workshop, in this curriculum, we do not divide between tangible or intangible. So we combine together both the sites, the monuments at Sukhothai, Sri Sachanalai, and Kamphaeng Phet historic town, which is in the northern part of Thailand. And because of that, we learn about the monuments, the history, the bricks, the restoration, the other tangible objects. But at the same time, we also look into the intangible or the living heritage. For example, some local guides will share that when I was young, I know that this monument that has elephant sculptures, they came to life at night. And they walked around as if it was battle time in the past. It sounds like a legend, but actually there are many, many stories behind it. There are stories of the history of the wartime and all the communities, how they respect and why elephants are part of the sculpture. They have symbolic meanings. And also they brought around to local intellects who specialize in making amulets, Buddhist amulets. and that are inspired by the sculptures on the monuments of the World Heritage Site. There's also local food, etc., like that. So I was impressed with this project because it didn't divide, the intangible from the intangible. And actually, that is the approach because we cannot divide, we cannot separate it out, right? When we talk about living heritage, we also have to acknowledge about the tools, about the materials, about the place that are associated with it. Specifically, for example, if I want to make a bamboo basket, it's not only about how to do it or why do I want to make this basket, or not like the only reason like I make this basket so I can put food and fruits to offer to monk in a ceremony. But I also need the bamboo itself. It's a tangible, right? You can touch it. I need the knife to sharpen it. And maybe when I make the basket, I make it at a temple area, and that is a space, a cultural and social space. So there are many objects and tangible stuff that are associated with the living heritage. So I guess I'm impressed with that because the local guides, they are also like the hosts of the tour. They bring people around and they know all the villagers, and they also know how to respect, ask for consent. So instead of putting local people as human zoo, if you have heard of this term, it's like people, the community, when there's tourism, they suddenly become the zoo for tourists who come and see, like, oh, you're exotic. What do you wear? What do you eat? Some people feel like, no, I do not want to be treated like that. So with this approach, they actually work and collaborate with the community and also local organizations, from beginning to end. Like, what kind of information do you want to put in this curriculum? When guides bring people around, where do you want them to go and where you don't want them to go? What time? What kind of clothing they have to wear? So this is very respectful of the local spirit. And I think I'm quite impressed with that project, which happened a long time ago. And good news is they're still going on today.
All right. I think you're very exciting about that. What about your experience from here, from Cambodia?
Well, I would like to share my experience of, it's similar to what Masanori mentioned. It's not a grammar, but for me it was Bokatao. When we work with Masanori-san, he helped us a lot with the document. And for me, it was a huge thing for me because it was the first time that I had to be engaged with such important process for submitting the document into the UNESCO. And may I ask, do you know how many years that the Bokatao, before the inscription, that they've been working on, like before the inscription? Do you know how many years before that? Anyone?
Anyone? 10?
10? Great.
Oh,
Yeah, that's it.
you have to give
Yeah,
them the
of course.
prize. That's a good answer.
Okay. Yeah, it's correct. Yeah, so, it's really the aha moment for me that when, you kind of have to be engaged with such huge achievement. And it was the first time that I'm working on such a project. And when I heard the news that it has been inscription to the UNESCO, it was, kind of, be more the pride that I've been working for. And this is one example. And can I have like more example? Like
Sure.
So the other one is the Lakhao Moran that I just mentioned before. It is located in the Kanda province. It's all of them are female dancer. Before that, I started working with a team that to revitalize the dance, and before they couldn't perform because there has no stage, they cannot because they all have their own job, like to support their family. So and this kind of form, it's like almost disappeared. So when we do the kind of identify the kind of the ICH element that's almost disappeared. So we found out this kind of group, and so we help them like with a kind of building stake and provide the training and also give them some kind of professional like kind training what they need from the ministry. And after like it's now a few years now, and this group can be seen that they can uh, uh, continue this kind of tradition. And it's quite important because this is the only one group that still remain in that province. And maybe there are more to work on. So I just want to share that this is really important and the most memorable moment for me.
Wow, that's very impressive. Thank you very much. Wow, it's ran really fast. We just had half an hour and something. Well, we have to come to a really important topic. We heard about the word in this even convention or domestic law. They're talking about the word promotion and safeguarding. So can you telling us what do you mean promotion of this shared cultural heritage and how to safeguard and who, right? Is this UNESCO job or Ministry of Commerce? People right here. Can you telling us what should we do for this understanding?
Thank you. The wording to safeguard is really UN jargon. I don't know if you know the jargon. This is like, it sounds like you understand, but nobody understands. Say, what the hell is safeguard? Huh? In our definition, to safeguard means to identify, and once you identify, you can study, you can document, you can research, you can conserve, you can preserve, or you can promote. Or sometimes, like everyone said, for example, intangible cultural heritage, living heritage, has a nature to disappear once you stop doing your activity, creative activity. Huh? So in that sense, safeguard is also to revitalize from the disappearance, to make it alive. That's also the part of to safeguard action. Having said this, first, identification is the most important action. If you don't know what your culture is, you cannot preserve, you cannot promote, you cannot introduce to others, right? You know, one example, Kun Lupokota, traditional martial arts, which was successfully inscribed in the Living Heritage of UNESCO last year. The reason why it took 10 years to inscribe was the nomination dossier was focusing on only how brave it is, how strong this martial art is. Right? So proud. But that could be part of the element behind. But the real meaning of Lubokota was, when you go to temple, you offer flower, you offer rice, you offer sometimes money, right? Kun Lubokota was a performance offering to the god. That was the original meaning. The movement of Kun Lubokota was a movement of weather, cloud, wind, sunshine, even the movement of animals, movement of trees. So in that sense, the nature is super important to perform Kun Lupokota. Kun Lupokota is, in a sense, very similar to sumo. Do you know sumo in Japan? These naked fat guys fight each other in a circle. Which one is really strong? But that's not really physical competition. The original meaning is that was a performance offering, like you offer rice, flour, everything at the temple to the god, right? Performance offering to the god, right? That's how we expressed from our perspective. But here, Kunlubokota is originally a performance offering to the god. This is depicted in the bas relief of Angkor. You can see a lot of Kunlubokota style over there. By the way, Krama is also expressed in the bas relief of Angkor, so that you understand these living heritage has been kept transmitted from generation to generation with your people, right? So that's how we want to promote, we want to safeguard, we want to preserve, to pass it to the next future generation. That's what we are trying to help within our limited capacity to the people.
Thank you very much. In Thailand, there's a problem, right? Even
Yeah.
the name of the law, we don't know what would be the word. That's really happened. He
Right.
just said.
Right.
So
That's why when we work at the local level, we always emphasize that please use your own word that makes sense. With UNESCO terms or other words, you can use them as vehicle to arrive at the concept. But after that, please feel free to edit this concept and make it your own definition that relates to the community, not like the Western kind of definitions. And I just remember, Masanori, you talk about krama, right? Krama? Yeah. In Thailand, we call it pa khao ma. Exactly the same, but of course with diverse variations. And men use it, for bath, or they stay at home. It's too hot. The weather in Thailand is so hot, and they can also wrap around their head when they're working. It's also part of some rituals. And of course, now they use creative economy to make some pakoma products. I didn't bring it today, but we have like a bag that is also shared with Laos. Yeah. So pakoma or krama, right? Yeah, is definitely an example of how different peoples and cultures practice it. Now, to answer your question, I think Masanori has done an excellent job already saying all the important things about it. you are too funny, Masanori. I have to do this. Okay, so maybe I will share with you specific experience from my work. That now we're in the city and now we're in the art festival, and there are many artists here, right? So when we safeguard this word, whatever it means, art is a powerful medium to convey meanings, to raise awareness to people. And when we do perform art, it's always through personal interpretation of the artist, right? When you perform something, no matter how strict the school of performing is, like maybe you have to do this specific dance, your thumb will have to be at this level of the finger or whatever, but there's always a certain kind of personal interpretation and meaning and expression to it. And because of that, art has been used a lot to bring awareness to culture or even to other critical issues, for example, climate change. How can we use culture and art to raise awareness and bring people together? So can you please, the officer here, can you please show the first, the second website? I don't know who is doing it. Oh, you're here. Okay, yes. It's about rain motions. So just I will talk while they're trying to upload the website. So recently I have been a resource person for Simios Bafa, which works on cultural heritage in ASEAN. And
This one?
Yes, it is the one. It just finished like last month. So this is called Rain Motions. What it did is that they found a common theme, which is about water and rain in Southeast Asia and how we're connected through this concept. But what are the cultural practices and traditions related through rain and water? So first, the academics did research on what are the cultural heritage related to rain. And then the second part, the component of this project was that they work with performing artists to transform the concept, the academic concept, into performance. So they will upload the video pretty soon. Now they're editing it. But it's very interesting in how, from Cambodia, from Timor-Leste, they're becoming a member of ASEAN, Thailand, Malaysia, Indonesia, Brunei, Vietnam. Did I say Cambodia? I did, right? Cambodia. So Singapore. So we all worked on this. And there are many issues that arose from it. For example, what about culture in urban settings? When we talk about culture, many people often romanticize that it has to be in the mountains by ethnic indigenous people. But actually, you have culture, living heritage, me too, everybody in the city too. But how do we look at this urban development and also living heritage? That's from Singapore. So they talk about the river in Singapore and how that river also symbolizes the national development and progress of the nation itself, along with the communities along the river, and what stories, what ethnic stories and beliefs are there. And also the separation between human to mother nature due to modernization. So now they're using technology to bring human back, to be connected to the river through, gardens, through some kind of eco projects and arts along the river. So people get to study about the history of that river, that it used to be so dirty, but the government cleaned it, and what were the stories found in that? Or in Brunei, they said that in the olden time, men, when they're fishermen, right? And when they're tired from doing the fishing, when they return home, they almost had no energy left. So what they did is that they do the singing and rowing together in songs, and that gave them energy to go through it. So that's also a dance about related to water. In Thailand, Cambodia and Laos, and we have Bun Phai, or like the rocket for rain, to call for rain. There are many kind of rain asking ceremonies. There are also like cat parade for rain in Thailand, Hae Nang Meo. Do you have it here? You do? Cat too?
I mean, the rain, like asking for rain, like from the local. Yeah, we also have that kind of.
Do you use cat?
Cats is also kind of kind of symbol. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Masanori, what about in Japan? Do you have any ceremonies to call for rain? I'll give you 1 minute to think. So in Thailand, we have this cat parade asking for rain. People will put cat in a cage, and then they will parade the cat around the city. They will hit the cage to make the cat scared and cry, meow, 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 meow. It's kind of cruel, right? So, but they said that when a cat cried, the sky can hear them and they will give us rain. But remember I talked about sustainable development and rights? So people nowadays, they realize like we don't have to torture cats, they're too cute. Like I'm a cat slave. So what they did is that they negotiated among the communities like, if we don't use real cat, what can we use? They used Doraemon. Do you know Doraemon? The cartoon, Japanese cartoon, the blue cat robot. Yeah. So they put cat robot doll inside the cage. And then they hit around and people feel good like, we don't hurt any cat. But you can see changes in evolution of culture that people change according to their feelings. They want to be better. They don't want to hurt real cat, right? So that's some examples. And that this is also presented in the rain motions. There are also the rocket, rain rocket. So if you've been to, do you have rain rocket here? Rain rocket? Okay, so I will share the link with the organizers later. So Laos and Thailand particularly, they make their own Elon Musk space projects. They make very, very big rockets. And then when they light on it, it's so huge, the rocket will go up. And then and then the sky would give them rain. It could be dangerous a little bit, but that's like modern and traditional technology. They even have the circling one and very diverse ways. They're decorated, and it's a competition. They have fun. So that is shared heritage. So in this project, safeguard through art, and people dance. Now, when bringing in different cultures through contemporary / traditional dance, and we also have from Cambodia, is this negotiation. How do we reconcile differences? How do we weave them together? And that could be due to, am I talking too long? Should I stop now?
I'm seeing the Raymond just stop right here for you.
Okay, sure. So I will pause and I will tell later in the next question,
Just
perhaps.
asking me one question.
Yeah.
Is it work?
What
We
word?
borrowed the Raymond from Mr. Masaki-san and then we put. It's raining after that?
Well, when we talk about culture, it's important to remember that it's not necessarily the scientific results, because culture people do it sometimes for other values, like for social gathering, for like during the COVID-19, when people come together and do some rituals, believing that this will bless them from COVID. Maybe in medical terms, it won't help them, or maybe they will. But the thing is, people have moral support for that. Yeah.
I think maybe power of the mind or faith. It
Faith.
doesn't matter what is that, even the Raymond, and then finally it's work.
And unity, when people come together through this, in the end, when they are like working together, they can work towards finding real solutions too. So we can see that this is a mechanism to real solutions.
Wow.
So I will pause and I will share with you what was the problem or challenge faced and how did they resolve it. And it's very sensitive in terms of culture.
So don't worry, after 4 o'clock, we're going to stay here. You want to know more about the cat story or even some story, she's willing to share with us. Now, it's very important. I would like to hear from you. What happened here? Do you have any plan or how safeguarding and promotion? I think you do have a law, right? How is implemented, enforcing, or how you want the people to be part of this encouraging, helping this?
For the government, we the 2003 convention that first operational in 2006, and through this convention, the ministry set the goals like safeguarding, promoting the culture, but also to develop. It's not only safeguarding and promoting, but we also try to make more like development. So in terms of this, like Nina mentioned about cat or something like the sustainable development. So there are a lot of changes, not only for the safeguarding, because if we safeguard like very simple example for clothes, like if we try to safeguard everything, there won't be there's nothing like more diverse like nowadays. And as Nina mentioned about the dance, that I just remember that there are kind of sensitive topic about this, like because many people like learn from one school, but they have different professor and trainers. So they have different, kind of, what can I say? Like, it's not, someone try to strict, like, okay, you need to dance like this, put the headlines in like that. But actually, it's for our point of view, it's not better, like, because without because this kind of restriction, it might lead to like no diversity or innovation in the country. So I mean, for us, we are open for innovation and for because we want to promote the diversity. Like you will heard more about contemporary arts for the next discussion, like at 4:30. So you will heard more from them. And for the ministry, we really support this kind of idea. It's not only safeguarding, but we also support the creativities and innovation.
Oh, Thank you very much. Um, the early this year, I traveled to South Africa with the Harvard Law School, and I met people in this community. I've been thinking, what should I give it to them? Do you know what my person? And then they said, what is this? This is amazing products. Like what we do in Thailand, they say like, oh, you can wrap it here, sleep in the morning, you can wash it easily, even you can cook. They're like, Nisit, next time you come here, please bring it to us. They love it. This is something of sharing culture, and I think it's really, really meaningful. Instead of story that send the sentiment like, who's come from? You say, no, it's from South Asia. It's from our friends, our from ancestor. I don't know who made this, but I'm thankful that's ancestor doing for us, and I'm proud to share this with them. And now it's come to the last question before we run out of time, and perhaps maybe those folks online and here would like some question for a few questions. That would be excellent. Now it's come to the last question. It's very important now because the term is the regional shared culture heritage is really key point here. Last time they come with misunderstanding, like what we just have good discussion, right? Who, mine, you, or we can compete it? No. For the next step, for the next year, maybe Songkran, water splash, or something that we share, especially for regional South Asia cultural heritage. Do you have any suggestion or recommendation from your experience? What should we do? And I think everyone here, not only for government, people like you and me, like the way I'm talking to the people, that the same way I think I'm helping preserving. What your perspective for the last one? How can you ask people here to helping the whole thing?
Okay, for example, living heritage, which seems to be a focus today, and art. Um, do you know tango, the dance? Have you ever heard this tango? Or more importantly, do you know how to dance tango? Tango, there are two countries when they wanted to inscribe this as a UNESCO representative list of intangible cultural heritage, Argentina and Uruguay. They are really competing. This is my heritage. This is my culture. Don't touch it. Don't say this is your tango. This is my tango. And vice versa. UNESCO Convention on Intangible Cultural Heritage is not to compete. It is more like, to identify what you have, what they have. Because living heritage goes beyond borders. It's not only limited within the current geographical scope. Once people move from one country to another, and then once they do, for the long time, it seems like they are doing almost a similar culture, right? That's the nature of culture. So that's what we have to understand. Of course, this is too similar, like Krama, as she said. It can be seen in Thailand, it can be seen in Laos, or maybe Myanmar, or different countries. And it's not to compete. It is rather to recognize, oh, you have this. And maybe the meaning might be something different. And once you wear, maybe you wear this time, we wear this time. This is how, we want to promote dialogue. Difference is really beautiful, right? Everyone has a different face. Everyone has a different character. But we wear similar clothes. We wear similar shoes, some similarities, some difference. But that's beautiful. Everyone has a difference. But sometimes we see a very super similarity in different countries, like living heritage. that's how we want to promote, to identify the difference, to admit, not to compete. One of the tools which we are promoting, UNESCO is promoting, is the nomination from different countries with one item, if this is super similar. This is what we call multi-nomination dossier promotion. This is given more priority to be nominated rather than one country to be proud of nominating our culture. But rather, if this is coming from 2 countries, 3 countries, this is our priority because we understand they have to talk each other to create the nomination dossier together, not only the government people, but this information has to come from those practitioners, those producers, those, whoever, local communities. Huh? So that's the time. We can talk each other, we can understand each other, we can acknowledge each other. Even, some, conflict or, those argument is really healthy to understand each other, right? So that's what we want to promote. Am I answering your question? I hope.
That's the whole point. Yeah. And thank you for the tango thing. I heard that a lot. And we learn by experience, right? And it's come up to a lot of cases. That's later maybe we can share those files to this event. Nina,
Okay,
What
I
do you
will
think?
try to not take too much time. Sometimes I enjoy too much. So in addition to Masanori's point about, inscription or listing or safeguarding, it's not about exclusive ownership, right? So now that's about within the UNESCO framework. Now let me share with you some examples outside of UNESCO, since I've been working with both within and outside of UNESCO. So you asked about, what kind of recommendation? I would say like lesson learned, actually like observation from experience, is that when we work with shared heritage, meaning the culture, practice, tradition that are shared by many groups of people and cultures, there will be this area called negotiation, reconciliation, and respect. And that is about cultural sensitivity. So about rain motions that I told you a while ago, one of the performers from Thailand danced with rice. He make rice fall on a container to make it sound like raindrops. Now after that, people will be dancing around, so some will be stepping on the rice. Now, some people didn't have any problem with that, but participants from Brunei and some from Cambodia as well said that we felt bad seeing people stepping on rice because rice has a special meaning in our heart. So that means that the performers have to respect, because although we have rice culture, we have different level of sensitivity. So with that, doesn't mean that if we're not that sensitive, we don't care. We have to respect and say, okay, if this make you feel bad, let's change parts of the performance so that we will not be stepping on rice. Or there's also this like rice wine to be shared around. And participants from Brunei said that I feel uncomfortable if I have to hold rice wine. It's alcohol, right? So with that, they changed to be rice milk. So you can see that about cultural sensitivity is the thing that we can move forward together when we work with shared heritage. Another example, another lesson learned is actually when outsiders like us, academic or people like that, feel like, oh, we will help you with your culture. Sometimes we intervene without, understanding their context. And it become top-down approach from the government or something like that. And the community feel like, oh, this is not what we intend to do. So the lesson learned and observation is that we actually have to shift ourselves in our role to empower them and support them. What needs do you want? Some people said that we need academic structure. So we want to use academic research to, protect our culture. Some would say that we need some kind of collaboration and networking. Some would say we need some documents. We know how to do stuff, but we don't have camera. etc. So let me show you example. Can you show the website on Witcast? So this was part of my research that I got a grant and I worked with the sea nomad culture, the Chao Le, in Phuket province of Thailand. And just to give you a very brief history, these groups of people, they live along the beach and they live their ways that they know how to fish. They might not go to school, like, finish like high school or anything, but they're experts at sea life. They know everything. They know the tides. They know how to find food by using their wisdom to make rattan, to make a cage. Oh, no, it's the other one. It's the last one, Witcast. Yes, this one. Oh, don't worry about the poster. We imitate the movie festival. But can you go up, please? Yeah, go up. So these are the children of the Rawai. But this palm thing we made up, okay? We didn't get any award from the film festival. But can you go up again? And for the community has been battling about their land rights for decades because they have been there for so long, for 300 years or so. But the private owners come said that we have this land, how do you call it? Land document that we have this land. Now you have to get out. We want to build a resort and hotel, 5-star. The community said, wait, we have been here even before the law of the land document in Thailand. We have been here 300 years. So they have been fighting for so long. Sometimes they would do the protests. Sometimes some strangers would come and destroy their village. They didn't succeed. It was a lot of conflict. But after that, some professors and also Thailand Research Fund went in and said, maybe you can use angle of research, to provide evidence to fight. So they did research. The local community leader got trained in how to do multidisciplinary research using anthropology. So they asked around, what's your family tree? So let's date back to how many generations. They also use forensic science. So they dig up the skulls and bones under the house because according to their culture, they bury the dead ones under their own house. So they dig it up and then they date the carbon dating, like how old is a bone? Oh, it's 100 years old. And then they also do some investigation. They go to local school and find all the names of the students. So 70 years ago, there are already some names. Some would go find photographs, old photographs. And because of the combination of this, they were able to find very concrete evidence that they came before that individual private owner. So can you please go up? And with this, they submitted a document and go up, yeah. So they submitted a document to the court to fight. And for the first time in the history, they won. They won. Yeah, so but the battle is ongoing because some people of the community will still have to fight this. But the model works so well that what I'm trying to say is that sea life, like what you call coastal life and culture and heritage is shared. Now the community said that it worked. And many other friends in Andaman Sea are in this area who are also shared heritage in other countries. Maybe we can help them. So now they're forming the networking along the Andaman Sea Nomads. Oh, sorry, that's my friend. Go up, go up. Our show is very funny. We want to make it like, these are the aunties and people who shared the story with us. I'm not part of the research team, but I'm part of the media who interview them to publicize it. And go up again. So this model, go up. So this model has been successful and now they're spreading. So what I'm saying is that all of us can find angle to empower the community. They already have the wisdom, but they might miss some tools. So you can provide them academic structure or technical or financial, however they want to. And yeah, so this is the power of shared heritage. Thank you.
Wow, good. That's amazing story. All right. Now, would you like to share something or any plan
Yeah.
that Cameron would like to ask help for people in community?
I also like to for what Nina mentioned about the collaboration job, like the ministry also raised the point that the ministry alone cannot work to kind of safeguard or promoting or the promote the diversity of culture. So we need all stakeholders together to work together through the collaboration. Like maybe I didn't mention before that. So for our director general to at the same time not only safeguard but promote and the diversity of culture. So recently we just did the kind of regional art festival in Bosat. We also invite Phare and other local communities to join together. And with this approach, we wanted to kind of bringing the arts to the local community who were not privileged or unable to reach out or to see all those arts. So start from this year, we started that project and it will continue. And this kind of action will, the extent of the collaboration and will promote the living cultures. And maybe I think it's if someone have a question like in Khmer, something like that, I can elaborate more like from the government point of view. So, yeah.
Oh, thank you. You have a lot of work to do. Don't worry. This is very important. From my experience, when I serve in the court, like this case, how we can prove who belong to who? Can you get a picture of this villager 100 years ago? No. But how powerful cultural heritage proved it because they found the cultural equipment and also the bone of those ancestors and show them like, oh, we live, people who try to make a condo or a lot of things, and they win the case. So living together, sharing, promoting, and this is how it's giving back to the community is very important. I think same thing I work with another project is called Pakakaya. It's a huge tribe and they're moving around Thailand, Burma, and several countries. And his problem is government because of land use. The government say, no, you're just moving around. And they say, no, we live here, but this is the way of culture of life. They do rotational farm. So we've been helping them using this culture as a tool to make understanding, to help preserving the heritage from their people, from their ancestor. And right now, we're still working on it. Last point we'd like to make is very important. We live in the capitalism world. Like you just mentioned, I was a sociologist in the intellectual property court. You know one funny case? Everyone, I think you know Doraemon. You probably know Ultraman. You know Ultraman. You have to cheer later. You know there's a case. They tried to proving whether Ultraman belonged to Japanese company or they own the Thai. It's a real case. You can search on Google. And they say, the claimant say he has a vision of the Buddhist scripture. Now you look at the Ultraman picture and say like, I got a vision from that picture from ancient sculpture and make story like this. And he talked to his master who is Japanese and sharing idea and come up with the story. So the kids try to fighting whether Ultraman belonged to who. It's very fascinating, right? But this is capitalism because they want to fight. That's why they call intellectual property. It's the Western concept of competing, of telling who got the ownership. But after an hour long, now you understanding it's not about competing. It's about sharing. It's about helping, preserving, not only you, but our descendant in the next decades or 100 years from now. Make sure what a good thing that ancestors give to us will pass belong to them. And that's why I think it's very important. That's why we come to this panel. And thank you very much for everyone to sharing and take your time from where you take a flight here. I think you take a lot of job before you make to do this. And also, we're gonna stay here for a little bit even after 4 o'clock. If you have any further question or you're interested for a particular topic, please come to us. And right now is 4 or 2. So sorry, I think we won't have enough time for answering question, but we're happy to talk to you down 4. And hopefully we would come up to this fruitful discussion to make, again, regional understanding of sharing picture, because then we can peace, love, and respect from each other. Thank you very much. See you next time.
So thank you very much to Dr. Nisit moderating and to our guest speakers. And thank you very much again to every one of you being here. Would again like to acknowledge our host for this venue here today, the Professor Raja Buddhist University, for hosting us, as well as a big thank you to UNESCO for sponsoring today's panel discussion. I think one of the key things that might have gone over people's head, which I'd like to just repeat, was a comment by Mr. Masanori about prescribing culture heritage. Whenever they prescribe heritage, they always say, term it as a particular heritage in the country, like in Cambodia. They don't say of Cambodia. And I think that point gets missed a lot by the public, and then they start competing, oh, this is ours, but it's not about that. It's a culture is being lived within a certain zone, like in a country. So they say in, but it doesn't make it that, oh, it belongs to Cambodia. And that, I think, is a key thing that has to be understood. And that's how the language, but that language gets missed and overseen. And I think more work needs to be done around framing the narratives around that so that language can be properly understood. But today was already a good start. So thank you very much for being with us. We do have a little thank you gift to you. Okay.
But ជាថ្មីម្ដងទៀតក៏សូមថ្លែងអំណរគុណទៅដល់វាគ្មិនទាំង4រូបហើយនឹងអ្នកសម្របសម្រួលនៅក្នុងវេទិកាជជែកពិភាក្សាស្ដីអំពីការឆ្វេងយល់អំពីបេតិកភណ្ឌវប្បធម៌រួមនៅក្នុងតំបន់ទន្លេមេគង្គរបស់យើងនេះឱកាសនេះហើយក៏សូមថ្លែងអំណរគុណយ៉ាងជ្រាលជ្រៅផងដែរចំពោះប្រវត្តិមានក៏ដូចជាវត្តមានរបស់ប្រធានានុធិរៈព្រមទាំងសិស្សានុសិស្សសាស្ត្រាចារ្យដែលបានចូលរួមយ៉ាងច្រើនកកកហើយនេះគឺជាវគ្គទី1នៃវេទិកាពិភាក្សាយើងនឹងមានវគ្គទី2មួយទៀតដែលស្ដីអំពីបាទសិល្បៈសាសសម័យខ្មែរដែលយើងនឹងមានវាគ្មិន5រូបផ្សេងទៀតដែលនឹងឡើងមកធ្វើការបកស្រាយទៅលើអ្វីទៅគេហៅថាសិល្បៈសាសសម័យខ្មែរហើយក្នុងឱកាសនេះបាទយើងសូមអនុញ្ញាតថ្លែងអំណរគុណជាថ្មីម្ដងទៀតហើយក៏សូមបាទវាគ្មិនទាំង4រូបបាទអាចសម្រាប់បានហើយដោយលោកបានចែករំលែកហើយថាប្រសិនបើមាន សំណួរអីពួកគាត់អាចនៅទីនេះហើយអាចសាកសួរបន្ថែមបានក្រោយពេលដែលយើងបានធ្វើការបញ្ចប់នៅកន្លែងនេះបាទ Okay, I would like to say thanks for all of you to be here and your brilliant presentations. It was much earned and also wish you guys a really best. And of course, they will have other questions for you guys later on while you're being around. And the next session will be the Khmer contemporary arts. We'll have another bunch of panelists will coming, but we'll have our snack there. Okay, បាទអញ្ចឹងជាថ្មីខាងគណៈវិក្កាមិនព្រមទាំងអ្នករៀបចំកម្មវិធីបាទស្នើសុំថតរូបអនុស្សាវរីយ៍មួយបាទក្រោយពេលដែលថតហើយគឺយើងមានបាទរយៈពេលប្រមាណ15នាទីដើម្បីធ្វើការសម្រាកយើងមានអាហារសម្រន់នៅខាងក្រៅដែលអាចពិសាសម្រន់បានហើយបន្ទាប់មកគឺយើងចូលត្រឡប់មកវិញចាប់ផ្ដើមនៅកម្មវិធីរបស់យើងបន្តទៀតតែម្ដងបាទសូមជាថ្មីម្ដងទៀតក៏សូមថ្លែងអំណរគុណយ៉ាងជ្រាលជ្រៅចំពោះខាងវត្តពុទ្ធិកសាកលវិទ្យាល័យបាទសូមអភ័យទោសផងដែរគឺសូមថតរូបរួមគ្នាតែម្ដងទេណាបាទសូមថតរូបរួមគ្នាមួយដើម្បីជាមួយនឹងវាគ្មិនរបស់យើងបាទសូមបាទនិមន្តនឹងអញ្ជើញបាទឡើងថតរូបបាទហើយការសូមទុកនៅនឹងកៅអីទេណាបាទឈប់ប្រើហើយគឺទុកនឹងកៅអីហើយក្រុមការងារក៏នឹងប្រមូលទុកតែម្ដងបាទអញ្ចឹងសូមថ្លែងអំណរគុណបាទយ៉ាងអ្នកក្រោយអីហ្នឹងបាទសូមជួយទុកកាសទុកអីបាទព្រោះបាទសូមបាទអញ្ជើញមកខាងមុខដើម្បីយើងថតរូបរួមគ្នាមួយហើយយើងនឹងមានការសម្រាកអាហារសម្រន់តែម្ដងទេណា or the man should be upstairs okay មុនឡើងលើទៀតមុនឡើងលើកណាបាទកណាមុនព្រះអង្គទាំងអស់មុនឡើងខាងលើទៀតដើម្បីយើងថតរូបរួមគ្នា